Most people think of vines as decoration, something pretty that climbs a fence, covers an ugly wall, or fills a gap in the garden. But a vine is one of the most efficient food production structures in a garden. Pound for pound, square foot for square foot, a well-chosen edible vine produces more than almost any vegetable bed you can plant. The vines I'm about to show you grow fast, produce heavily in their first season, and in most cases, will come back larger and more productive every year without you having to replant them. The thing about vines is that most gardening advice overlooks something fundamental. A vine does not compete for ground space. It utilizes vertical space. Fences, trellises, pergolas, wire mesh, and old tree trunks represent space that is completely wasted in almost every garden in North America. Every vertical surface you own is a potential food source you haven't claimed yet. After today, that changes. These 9 vines are the ones I would plant on an empty fence tomorrow morning. If I had to start from scratch, I'd start with the cucamelon. Top 1, cucamelon. This is the vine I give to people who say they can't grow anything. It almost refuses to fail. The cucamelon, also called mouse melon or Mexican sour gherkin, produces grape-sized fruits that look exactly like miniature watermelons and taste like cucumber with a citrus hint of lime. The plant is native to Central America. It has been cultivated since before colonial times and produces with a ferocity that will truly surprise you. Start seeds indoors 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost and transplant once the soil has warmed up. The vines grow between 3 and 4 meters long and require almost no attention. Once established, pest pressure is remarkably low. Practically no insects bother them. Disease resistance is exceptional. Here is the figure that matters. A single plant grown on a trellis in good conditions produces approximately 100 fruits per season. At a farmer's market, cucamelons sell for between $5 and $8 for a 250 millesimo container. Your seed packet costs $2. At the end of the season, the plant develops an underground tuber. In zones 7 and warmer, leave it in the ground. It comes back earlier and stronger the following spring. In colder zones, dig up the tuber, store it in a cool, dry place during the winter, and replant it in the spring. The second year starts faster. The third year, it's practically a weed that also tastes incredible. Top 2, tromboncino squash. If you have ever lost a zucchini plant to vine borers, which happens almost anywhere in North America, this vine is going to forever change how you grow squash. The tromboncino is an Italian heirloom squash, also called succhetta rampicante, belonging to the cucurbita moscata family, the same species as butternut squash. And here is the detail that matters. The stem of a cucurbita moscata is dense and solid throughout its length. The squash vine borer, the moth larva that tunnels into zucchini stems and kills the plant from the inside, cannot penetrate it. The stem is simply too woody. While your neighbor's zucchini collapses in August, a tromboncino vine keeps climbing and producing with 0 borer damage. The vine grows aggressively up to 9 or 12 meters in a single season. Guided by a fence or trellis, it hangs its fruit in the air, where they lengthen into a distinctive curved trumpet shape that can reach between 60 and 90 centimeters long. Pick them young and tender, and they will taste better than any zucchini you've bought at a store. Firmer, slightly sweeter, and with a nutty hint. Leave them on the plant longer, and the skin will harden into a true winter squash with excellent storage qualities. One plant, 2 completely different harvests depending on when you pick. There is one more detail that I think seals the case for this vine. The tromboncino is not sold in supermarkets. Its irregular shape makes it impossible to standardize for retail sale. The only way to eat it is by growing it yourself or knowing someone who does. That alone is reason enough to put it on your fence this season. Top 3, Malabar spinach. Common spinach bolts in the heat, turns bitter, goes to seed, and gives up just when summer gets serious. Malabar spinach does exactly the opposite. This tropical climbing vine thrives in conditions that destroy any other leafy green in your garden. It loves the heat. It loves the humidity. It grows vigorously in full sun during the hottest weeks of summer, and it keeps producing until the frost arrives. The dark green heart-shaped leaves have a flavor similar to spinach, slightly peppery, earthy, and they hold their texture in cooked dishes much better than real spinach. Harvestable in approximately 70 days, The key to maximum production is continuous harvesting. Malabar spinach is a cut-and-come-again plant. Pick the leaves and growing tips regularly, and the plant will respond by branching out and producing more. The more you harvest, the more it gives you. Research from the University of Florida documents an average yield of 40 kilo of leaves in a 10 square meter bed over a season. A single vine on a trellis can supply a family with leafy greens throughout the entire summer period when nothing else is producing. It does not survive frost, so in temperate zones, it is grown as an annual, but it self-seeds in warm climates, and seeds are cheap everywhere. Start once, save a few seeds in the fall, and the cost will be zero in every subsequent year. Top 4. Scarlet runner bean. Most gardeners who grow these beans plant them for their flowers. The flowers are spectacular clusters of vivid orange-red that hummingbirds and pollinators cannot stop visiting. What most people don't realize is that this vine produces 3 completely different foods at the same time, and it does so in 60 to 75 days. Young pods are eaten as green beans, harvested before the seeds swell. As the pods mature, the seeds inside become shelling beans, large, mottled with purple and black, with a rich, nutty flavor unlike any common bean. If left to dry completely on the plant, those same seeds become dried legumes for long-term storage. One plant, 3 different harvests depending on the timing of the collection. Scarlet runners also fix nitrogen. Their root systems house bacteria that pull nitrogen from the air and deposit it directly into the soil. Plant them at the base of a trellis, harvest all season, and at the end of the year, chop up the spent vines and use them for compost. The soil left underneath is more fertile than when you started. The roots are perennial in zone 7 and warmer. The top part dies back with frost, but the root regrows in spring. Even in cold zones, the seeds are large, cheap, and germinate reliably. The cost of a packet is less than $3. Top 5. Chayote. The chayote is one of the most extraordinary plants on this entire list, and almost no one in North America grows it. Native to Central America and cultivated since Aztec times, every part of it is edible. The fruits, the young leaves and shoots, the seeds, and after a couple of years, the starch-rich tuberous roots. A fully established plant produces between 80 and 100 pear-shaped fruits per season. According to the Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences at the University of Florida, that is not a typo. A single plant, if it has adequate space and a sturdy trellis, can cover more than 9 meters and produce 100 edible fruits between late summer and the first frost. You don't plant a seed, you plant the whole fruit. Buy a chayote at a supermarket for less than $1, place it at a slight angle in the soil with the sprouting end barely visible, and the plant will do the rest. A sincere note, first season yields are modest while the plant establishes its root system. By the second and third year, a single plant can feed a family. In frost-free zones, it is a true perennial plant that returns indefinitely. In colder climates, start it indoors in late winter to maximize the growing period. Young shoots can be harvested throughout the season exactly like asparagus, which means you get food even while waiting for the fruit to arrive. Top 6. Hyacinth bean. This vine stops people in their tracks the first time they see it. Dark green foliage, purple-tinged stems, deep violet flowers, and seed pods of a bright, vivid purple that looks almost artificial. All its parts are edible if prepared properly. The hyacinth bean, Lablab purpureus, has been cultivated in Africa and Asia for over 4,000 years. It grows at an explosive speed from seed, reaching between 3 and 4.5 meters in a single season with minimal care. It matures in 60 to 90 days. Young leaves are eaten as greens. Immature pods are harvested as green beans. Mature dry seeds for long-term storage are high in protein and widely used in Indian cuisine under the name sem. Important note, mature dry seeds require thorough cooking. Prolonged boiling with water changes removes the cyanogenic glycosides naturally present in the raw bean. All traditional cultures that have consumed this plant for millennia know this and practice it regularly. Properly cooked, they are nutritious, delicious, and completely safe. Now you know it fixes nitrogen, tolerates heat, drought, and poor soils that would stress most crops. Planted in full sun on any vertical surface. Water once a week once established and leave it be. Top 7. American groundnut. This is the plant with the greatest historical importance on this entire list, and almost no one plants it. Apios americana, the American groundnut, also called hopnis or Indian potato, is a perennial vine native to North America that produces both edible tubers and edible bean pods. The tubers have a nutty flavor, are rich in protein, and contain starch. Indigenous peoples throughout the eastern half of North America cultivated and relied on this vine for thousands of years. When the crops of the first colonial settlements failed, the tubers of this plant kept people alive through multiple winters. That is documented colonial history, not a legend. The plant grows between 1 and 2 meters, produces fragrant pinkish-purple flowers, and develops its tubers underground in a beads-on-a-string formation along shallow stolons. Harvested in the fall by gently working the root area. The plant returns every year without needing to be replanted. It fixes nitrogen. It grows in partial shade where most food crops fail. It thrives in moist soils and returns food in 2 directions, beans above ground and tubers below, indefinitely once established. The reason almost no one grows it is simple. It was replaced. When European agriculture took over this continent, centuries of indigenous food knowledge went with it. The American groundnut vine is one of the most productive and low-maintenance perennial food plants native to North America, and it has been essentially forgotten. Look for tubers or seeds at nurseries specializing in native plants. Plant them once, and they will return for the rest of your life. Top 8 Passion Flower, Maypop. Passiflora incarnata, called Maypop, is a North American passion flower hardy to winter down to zone 5 that produces an edible fruit that most people in North America have never tasted from their own garden. Even though it grows wild throughout the southeastern United States, the fruit ripens from late summer to fall. It is approximately the size of an egg, with a yellowish-green exterior and a sweet and tart tropical pulp that tastes like a cross between guava and citrus. The vine returns faithfully every spring, spreads via root stolons in good conditions, and becomes more productive each year. The flowers are among the most structurally complex produced by any North American plant, attracting specialized pollinators that benefit everything else in your garden. The fruit contains flavonoids with documented mild calming properties, which is why passion flower has been used in herbal medicine for centuries. The leaves and flowers are edible and prepared as an infusion. The seeds are edible. Get a small plant from a native plant nursery. Give it a fence in zones 5 to 9, and it will return every year, spreading a little more each season. It asks for almost nothing. What it gives back includes flowers that stop people mid-conversation and fruits that cannot be bought in any grocery store in North America. Top 9 Acabia chocolate vine. Acabia cuñata is sold in almost every garden center as chocolate vine and is labeled as an ornamental. Most people who buy it have no idea that its fruits are edible. The elongated purple-gray pods ripen in early fall, split open when ripe, and reveal a translucent, sweet white pulp wrapped around black seeds. The flavor is delicate, mildly sweet, and with a slight hint of vanilla. In Japan, where Acabia has been cultivated for centuries, its fruits are considered a seasonal delicacy and are sold at a high price. Young shoots are eaten as a cooked vegetable in early spring. The outer skin of the fruit is stuffed and cooked as a vegetable in traditional Japanese cuisine. 3 different foods from a plant that most North American gardeners pass by in the nursery without a second look. The plant grows between 4.5 and 9 meters in a single season once established. It tolerates partial shade better than almost any other fruiting vine, making it ideal for north-facing fences and the shadiest parts of a garden where most other vines would struggle. Hardy to zone 4, it produces small, fragrant reddish-purple flowers in early spring that are among the first food plant flowers to open in the garden. Sincere note on timing, Acabia usually produces its first significant fruit crop in the 2nd or 3rd year. What it gives you in the first year is fast, vigorous coverage and those early flowers. The fruit is worth the wait, and at a price of between $8 and $15 in any garden center, sold as an ornamental with no mention of what it actually produces, it is one of the most undervalued purchases you can make at a nursery. Here is the common thread that unites these 9 vines. None of them need much from you once established, None of them occupy ground space that you are already using. Each and every one of them occupies vertical surfaces that currently produce nothing. Fences, deck railings, gazebos, old tree trunks, and turns them into a food source that returns year after year, often requiring less attention in the fifth year than in the first. The annual vegetable bed resets every season. You start from scratch, replant, and reinvest. A vine, once established, is a permanent food structure. It is the difference between a garden that needs you and a garden that feeds you, whether you pay attention to it or not. Start with one. The cucamelon if you want results this summer. The tromboncino if squash vine borers have beaten you before and you're tired of losing that battle. The scarlet runner bean if you want 3 different harvests from a $3 seed packet, or the American groundnut if you want to plant something that will keep producing food long after you are gone. Choose a fence. That's all you need to get started. If this story has changed the way you look at the vertical spaces and ornamental plants in your garden, please subscribe and like the channel. We are unearthing the history and the harvests that have been hidden in plain sight. Let's grow the future together. The next garden treasure will be uncovered very soon.